Hello and welcome back to the workshop. Thank you so much for joining me again. We're here, we're back in the workshop, and we are getting on with the Series 1. We are another week closer to Jake Payne's visit to help get over the hill with this Series 1. And I have been busy since last Sunday. I've got so much here to show you and a lot to get done. I have had a huge tidy up in the workshop to clear out and remove all of the old rusty bits that I don't need anymore. As I first took this Land Rover apart, there were piles of sort of, old door seals and things that I kept just in case. Now I'm at the point where I can confirm that I don't need half of those bits. So I've had a big tidy up. I've got various different workstations set up for various different things. During the cleanup, I've actually cleared some space, and the Edwardian is now edging ever closer to the lift and to some progress. So we are getting very close to being able to work on that Edwardian, which I cannot wait for. So I've got one table with completely rusty as found parts that I still need to work through. The gauge cluster, the gauge, the dials, the badges, little things like that. There's a few bits that I haven't touched yet. The throttle linkage is another one that I need to do. I've got another table, which is the sort of intermediate table. That's got the pedal assembly from last week's episode that I've now cleaned, de-rusted, removed all this scabby paint and primed. And I've got various bits here that need either priming or painting and sort of finishing before they can head to the final table, which is my big one at the end here in the corner. And that is the finished and ready to assemble pile. And there is a lot of time, money and effort and work on that table. There are piles and piles of parts here. Parts, nuts and bolts, bits, brackets, lights, all sorts of things. The wiring, hoses. And I'm very pleased to say that I have got all of the original pieces of steel that were galvanized back from being zinc sprayed. Now, I know we were not super keen on the zinc spraying, and I tried to galvanize them, but I just did not trust sending off all of these tiny brackets to any company that I've never used before and I've got no relationship with. Galvanizing is such a commercial, industrial process. I really worried that these tiny little brackets could potentially get lost. And fortunately for me, I have a very good relationship with Justin at Penfold Metalizing in Chichester. He does a lot of the blasting and plating and things for me for the repair shop, and he's very used to dealing with delicate, fragile, irreplaceable things. So I could completely trust him to blast all of these components, and he does the zinc spraying in-house. So I had complete comfort that every bracket that I gave him was going to come back in good condition. So for that reason, I've decided to go with the zinc spraying. I will admit it hasn't got the same original finish as the hot dip galvanizing stuff that these would have had from new, but it's still a rust preventative zinc coating. It's a bit rougher to the surface, to the finish, but we'll see how this ages and weathers down with time. Although I've got a lot here on these benches spread out in the entire workshop, I'm going to ignore all of it and head up to the welding bench and get on with that wing that we started last week, because we've got a fair bit of paint stripping to do, some panel beating to do, and of course some welding some of those rusty scabby holes. So if I can get this wing complete and offered up in place, I'll feel a lot better about the alignment with the bulkhead. So it's quite important that I get this wing done. So let's get on with it.
Okay, here we go. Before I get started on the wing, I'm going to fix this little panel first. It's got a tab which bolts in place and it's completely rotten. So I've drawn around it on a new piece of aluminium, then I can cut that off, and I've got the new piece already roughly to size, slightly oversized on the external dimensions, but that's fine because once it's welded in place, I can trim it down afterwards. I've cleaned up and sanded down the entire panel before welding to keep it all nice and clean, and then all I need to do is fire up the TIG welder and weld it in place. This is a pretty straightforward repair, but I thought I would break myself in gently and have a bit of a warm-up. With the welding complete, it just needs a bit of a clean up, a grind down, bit of a file into shape, hammer it nice and smooth, and then we're there. The first repair complete. Look at that. Now, the first repair may have gone very well, but that was probably the easiest repair to do. Things are going to get a lot more complicated later on. The first obvious problem with this wing is this bolt hole down the bottom. That is for a sort of wing stay, which bolts to the chassis. And it's completely rotten and opened out and brittle. So there's only one thing for it. Cut that whole section out, make a new piece, and get the new bit welded in. I'm spending some time and smoothing off and flattening the area all around it because at the moment it's quite bent and distorted, and I don't want to weld the new piece in to a distorted wing. When welding aluminium, it's so important to get the joints between the new and old panels fitting as tight as possible. And the nicer the panel fits, the easier it's going to be to weld, the less heat you introduce to the panel, the better everything goes. I have clamped a piece of steel across the wing to try and keep it as flat as possible. Whether that helps or not, I'm not sure. With the welding complete and ground down, I just needed to drill the new hole to accept the new wing stay, and that area is done. Now I can try and remove some of these dents, and this is where it gets a bit tricky. Now I'm at the halfway point of the front wing. It's time to take a bit of a break from the hammering for a second and deal with a bit more rot. And this corner is tricky because it's actually double layered, which makes it very difficult to weld. I really have to chop it all out, put the outer section in place, weld that in place, then make the strengthener panel for the inside, and then weld that in place from the inside, and then I'll rivet the two pieces together a bit later. Or if I'm brave enough to try and use Jeff's spot welder, I may well just do that. And that is another corner successfully repaired. Now let's get back to hammering. Trying to straighten out this wing is particularly difficult because it's dead flat. Well, it should be anyway. All of the dents and creases and ripples that are in it have actually stretched the material. So it's not just a case of hammering all the dents back in from the other side, because you'll end up with way too much material in the middle of the panel and it just won't be flat. It will end up with a big bulge in the middle of it. So I've got my blowtorch there, and I'm every now and then, when there's an area that's really stretched, I'm heating it up to anneal and soften that point area. And then with sort of glancing blows, I'm trying to push the material into that softened area, and then I can planish that down and try to shrink it down. It's really hard to explain. It's very difficult to do, and to be honest, I wish I was better at doing it. But with a lot of time, and I mean a lot of time, this took me the best part of a day to do this wing with all of the welding. But eventually, I got it into a pretty good spot. There was one area just in the center of the wheel well that's got a strengthening panel behind it, so I couldn't hammer any dents there because that extra panel was in the way. But the rest of the wing actually came out quite well. It is incredibly satisfying spending hours doing this, and to get to the end of the job and look back and actually realize how much better the wing looks. Yes, I know it's not perfect, but it has come a very long way. I'm really pleased. With the outer part of the wing in a pretty good place, it's time to turn my attention to the inner part of the wing. First, I need to remove what's left of the paint. The paint stripper did a good job, but it did leave a few stubborn areas that the only way really to get this off was by hand with the DA and just remove it with sanding. I'm doing this to see how bad things really are, to make sure there's no hidden repairs, any old filler or anything like that underneath the paint. I need to get down to the bare aluminium to see what condition it's in, especially if I need to do any welding. And what I found under the paint wasn't brilliant. Oh dear. These 3 holes are critical. They are the ones that hold the front panel in place. They're all completely rotten and oversized, and almost every single hole is in a very similar condition. The only way to tackle these repairs is to do as I have done previously: mark a square around each hole, cut it out, trace a new piece from some new aluminium, and weld it in place. The ones on the edges like this are more straightforward and a lot easier to do. So let's get those done first. These original Land Rover panels are actually made of a material called Burma-Bright. It's like aluminium, but it has a lot of magnesium in it. It's supposed to be corrosion resistant, and to be fair, they have lasted quite well. It seems to be a bit hit and miss with the welding. Sometimes it welds really nicely, and every now and then there seems to be a pocket of contamination, which is just horrible to weld. I'm methodically working my way around this wing section until all of the holes are repaired. And it's time to tackle those 3 critical holes which hold the front panel in place. The panel needs some flattening out first, and then I can mark out where the holes should be. This tiny little remain of a half round oval hole is all I needed to tell me where the original hole used to be. It was actually a sort of rounded off slot. That is critical for the registration and the alignment when it comes to bolting all these panels back in place, because once I've cut all of these out, I've got no idea where the original holes used to be. That's why you've probably seen black lines drawn all over the panel. They are really marking the center line of the hole before I cut it out. As long as I make those lines go on further than where I'm cutting out, I can remark them back on once the repair's done. Honestly, the rest of my day was spent doing exactly the same thing. Cutting out small squares, remaking new squares, lining them up, welding them in place, and a lot of hammering. This one was a little bit more tricky because it's got a strengthening rib underneath. So I had to drill out 4 spot welds. I can pry that panel off, which gives me access to get to the rotten section below, which obviously needs the same thing doing. Drawing a square around the rotten area, cutting it out, making a new piece fit as nice as possible, and then welding it in place. Once it's ground down, you can hardly see it was ever repaired. Everything was going so well.
The job of welding up this arch is a big one. It is so time consuming, cutting, drilling, grinding, sanding, filing, every single piece of rot in these wings, and there's a lot. They have ended up a bit like a patchwork quilt, but at least I've been able to save the entire front wing, which is a brilliant thing. And I'm very pleased to say that this is the worst one, hopefully. The other one doesn't look as bad. I don't know, do you ever have those days where you feel like everything is against you, stopping you trying to get things done? I have run out of welding gas, but luckily I had a spare bottle in the van, so thank goodness for that. I've got the spare one, carry on. I've been carrying on. I run out of cutting discs. Brilliant. Now, for some reason, and I don't know what's happened, but my welder has packed up. I don't know if it's the pedal or some sort of switch inside, but as I press it, it doesn't turn on. It sort of turns on, but then turns off again. As you initially press it, it turns on. But then as you try and press it down a bit more, it cuts out. Sounds like something's wrong with the switch, maybe in the pedal, but to be fair, the machine I have had for years and years, so I wouldn't be surprised if something's gone wrong in the actual machine. So there is nothing I can do with that now on a Sunday. I think a new welder may be on the cards. I've had this one for years and it's done me so well. And of course it packs up right when I'm in the middle of welding. I had 2 or 3 more patches to do. I was so close and so nearly there to getting this wing finished, but unfortunately it is just not meant to be today. It is so demoralising not being able to finish the wing. But with that in mind, I have decided to balance it in place on the bulkhead, line it up and just loosely balance it in place. I've put the rear tub back on the back to give me a little glimmer of hope that I am actually achieving something. It's rewarding seeing it all together. I know it has to come back apart again, but for a little morale boost, I thought I would offer it all up and just balance it all in place and sit back and enjoy it, because it's been a tough few days doing that wing, and of course I've got to do it all again on the other side. So we've got one more video of me messing around trying to sort things out, and then Jake will be here very, very soon. And then when Jake's here, some serious progress will be happening because we've got a table full of parts and that pile is ever growing. I'm gonna have to sign off here, but thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Take care.